Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a mommy and mini video because it's Monday and that's just what we do on this channel. We talk about mommy things and baby things, and today I'm going to talk about my labor and delivery. And I have my little one sitting on my lap because she is crabby and I try to set her down and she won't stop crying, so I'm just going to hold her throughout this video. I know you guys won't mind because I mean, look how freaking adorable she is. So without further ado, here we go. I hope you guys want to know what a contraction feels like. I'm not going to go in depth and try to explain it. You guys can go watch the video. I'll link it right here on what I think a contraction feels like. I explained the beginning of my labor and you guys wanted to hear more. So I'll start from the very beginning. And I just want to let you guys know that I did vlog a couple days and the day of that I gave birth. So I did do a kind of like follow me around kind of vlog where it was like step by step on what was going on. I even filmed like 5 seconds of me having a contraction at the hospital and after she was born. So I will link that video right here. I was feeling super bloated, like super tight feeling in my stomach. Something just didn't feel right. I went to bed and at 7 o'clock in the morning, I just felt like I peed my pants basically. But it wasn't a lot of water, just something weird was coming out, okay? I don't really have to go into detail. Basically, my water was breaking very slowly, and no, it doesn't hurt if you're wondering what your water breakage will feel like if you're pregnant. I pull up to the hospital and I walk in. I had to just tell them all my information. She's like, okay, Emily, let's go in this room. Let's see if, you know, you're actually in labor. Let's see how far along you are, da da da. I was about 2 to 3 centimeters dilated at 11 o'clock. And they're like, this is it. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm having this baby. My husband was just so in denial, like, you are not ready. We're not going. Like, he's like, you're not ready. He looked at me in the hospital as I'm sitting in the room and she just told me I'm 3 centimeters dilated, and he was just like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And all of a sudden, like this mucusy, sorry, it's like TMI, but if you want to know details, this like mucusy stuff was coming out, and that was like the sac and like all that weird, nasty stuff. So I was having contractions. I wanted to not get an epidural because I wanted to go naturally. I wanted to try at least, and then if the pain became too unbearable, then I'd get an epidural. We got there at 11. It was probably between like 1 and 2 o'clock that my family started coming up. I'm in labor. I'm still not getting an epidural. I had my Nana holding my hand, and the contractions were just like so exhausting. Like you are literally just like holding your breath and you're just like exhausted, and they kept getting faster. So they checked me again. It took forever to get to 4 centimeters dilated. Brandon was like, well, can I run home? I need to go get some stuff. He wanted to bring his PlayStation and his computer and all that stuff. We literally lived like 3 minutes up the street, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Before Brandon left, I decided at 4 centimeters dilated, I couldn't take it anymore, and I got an epidural. And the epidural was really interesting. They said that it might hurt. It's basically like a hollow tube that they will put like in your back and in your spine, and it will numb your legs. And I thought an epidural was literally like, I'm not gonna be able to lift my legs. You feel like if someone's touching my leg, I can feel that. Like you feel like the surface, like you feel that, but your legs are pretty numb. You don't feel anything in like your hip area and like your bottom area basically, but you can still tell if somebody's touching your leg. You're not like completely like, oh my God, I can't lift my legs. Oh my gosh, I can't feel anything. I'm paralyzed. You can feel a little something, so don't freak out. I got an epidural at 4 centimeters dilated, and Brandon left, and within 20 minutes, I was 6 centimeters dilated, and I started freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, what if I go into labor like that? Like, he needs to come back. So he came back, and I wasn't dilating fast enough or something like that, so they put a peanut ball, and a peanut ball is basically like think of a peanut, like how it has like two round parts in it. they put it in between my legs so that my cervix would stretch, and she would just come out kind of, you know, naturally without me pushing. 6 to 9.5 centimeters dilated within like an hour. Like, it was so crazy. So, and we found out I was 9.5 centimeters dilated because a guy came in and he was gonna break my water all the way, because like I said, my water was breaking very slowly. They're like, well, we just need to get in there and just break it all out. So the guy like went in there with like this metal object. It was like a hook looking thing. And you don't feel really anything at this point. I'm eating popsicles. I'm having the time of my life. I have a peanut ball in between my legs, laying on my side. I'm eating a popsicle. I'm just like, oh yeah, go ahead, do what you gotta do. He was like, she's like 9.5 centimeters dilated. She's ready. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm ready. I'm about to like give birth and you're eating a popsicle. Like, so I was in labor for like, I don't know, 14, 15 hours. Throughout my labor, it was only my husband that was in the room when I gave birth. I didn't want anybody being in there other than us because it was just something special between us. I didn't want anybody else being in there distracting me, feeling pressured or anything like that. They boosted up my epidural a little bit and I didn't like it because I couldn't feel anything. And if I don't feel anything, I don't know how hard to push, you know? And she was wanting to give me, I forget what it's called, it's been forever. She wanted to give me some kind of medicine to speed up my labor because I wasn't pushing hard enough for the baby to come out. Pitocin, is that it? I don't know, that kind of just came to me. So I was like, no, I don't want it. Can you just like turn off my epidural? So they actually slowly turned off my epidural and I could feel a lot. And I didn't mind it because I literally wanted to know how hard I was pushing so I can see, and I also had a mirror in front of me so I can see like her coming out. So she went to go take a nap. In between each push, I actually was put on oxygen because it was really hard for me to breathe. So every time in between contractions, I would put like an oxygen mask on myself and take really deep breaths, and then when it was time to push, I put it down and I pushed. Brandon was so supportive. He was like counting with the nurses. He was like, come on, Em, da, 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 like super motivating. There was a time where it was like in between her shoulders and everything, and they were like, okay, we have to stop because we have to wait for another contraction for you to push. Don't just push. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is kind of painful, very uncomfortable. So, but within the next contraction, I pushed and she just came out and it was all over. And at that point, I didn't even care about like the placenta or anything coming out. They just kind of did all the work while they put her on my chest. And we had that time together for an hour before people started coming in. I basically got like the smallest stitch ever. I didn't rip at all, and she was 6 pounds and she was beautiful, and it was the most craziest thing I've ever been through. Makes me like kind of teary. She was born and she was beautiful, and that night at the hospital, I honestly wanted to go home because being in a hospital, staying the night at a hospital just makes me super creeped out. Like, I always feel like I'm in a scary movie. And especially with having a newborn being right next to me, I was just like panicking because I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do as far as feeding went. And I started breastfeeding, kind of not knowing how to do it, but the nurses were super helpful. The only thing I hated was that they would come in and wake me and her up when it was time for her to feed because they wanted her to weigh a certain amount before she left. Because right after babies are born, they will lose weight, and you need to make sure that doesn't happen. So they kept waking us up. I'm mentally and physically exhausted at this point. I'm not gonna lie, it was awful. My husband actually went home so he could sleep because there's no point in both of us being sleep deprived. So he went home, he went to bed. He was like cleaning the house before baby got there. And I'm in the hospital with the baby, with the nurses and everything. And I just remember them taking her away because I just needed sleep. And I felt like a really terrible mom because I felt like I should be there. Even if she's crying, even if I need sleep, I felt like that's my daughter. I need to be there. So I almost felt guilty for the nurses taking her away and watching her for an hour or two because, you know, I just felt, I don't know, to me, I just felt like a bad mother. Most moms are just like, Yeah, go ahead, take them. I'm just like, I started crying. Like, your emotions are all over the place after you have a baby. And I just started crying because I was just like, I'm her mother. Like, I should be taking care of her. And I should know what to do, and I didn't know what to do. So I gave birth on Saturday, ended up staying till Monday because the the person that talks about breastfeeding and all that stuff, she wasn't coming until Monday morning, and I really wanted to meet her and get really proper training. So I would recommend getting that training if you are planning on breastfeeding before you give birth. Otherwise, you're just gonna stay in the hospital for no reason, because we could have went home on Sunday, and I really wish we did. What I hated, there was this one nurse that watched over me throughout the night, and because they would switch shifts all the time, and this one girl came in. She was literally the same age as me. And I don't know why that bothered me. It was because she kept calling me hun and sweetie. She's like, okay, sweetheart, just calm down, honey. Okay, sweetheart, I'll be right back, sweetheart. Da, da, da. And I'm just like, can you not call me that? Unless you know me and you've been my friend or you're older than me, please do not come up to me and call me sweetheart like a million times, or honey, or like you're so much older and wiser than me. Like, that's how I felt, especially after giving birth. Your hormones are so crazy, like I said, that you were just like, I wanted to punch her. Like, okay, sweetie, all right. I mean, I know she was just trying to be nice and making me feel comfortable, but it was not making me feel comfortable at all. Anyway, my hospital experience was okay. I actually really did like the nurses, the ones that didn't call me sweetheart and honey all the time. Other than that, the hospital was pretty great. My hormones were freaking crazy after I had her, and when I got home with her, it made me super nervous because, I mean, I read all the books. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do, but nobody can prepare you for this, and no one can be there and tell you exactly what to do unless you live with your parents. I mean, when you're by yourself, I mean, because my husband's got to work. As she gets older, it gets a lot easier because you fall into a routine, but I was literally waking up Melina every 2 to 3 hours to feed her. You are not supposed to do that. I only did that because that's what they did in the hospital, so I was just going off of what I was taught. Anyway, not to get sidetracked, but that was my labor and delivery story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that it wasn't like as exciting and stuff as other people's, but that's what happened to me. And if you guys want to check out my vlog, I mean, literally I was filming the day I gave birth, so go ahead and check that out. Also, if you want to know what contractions feel like, go ahead and check out that video also. I'll link them both down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know if this video was helpful or boring, but it was a video request by several of you, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what mommy and mini video you guys would like to see next Monday. But as far as that goes, beauty video on Wednesday and Friday per usual. Don't forget to subscribe, and I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Oh my god. Hand me the baby! Baby!
Lord Almighty, I'm free at last.
Oh my god. Come here. You. My little snickerdoodles. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Oh, 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 oh. Ah! Nina Bear, look up.